What are the signs of autism in a baby and how to become aware of them? Becoming a parent has its challenges and fears. You never want to believe that your precious bundle has a problem. But when it comes to autism, catching it early, ideally by the age of 18 months, makes a huge difference. Early intervention and treatment can reduce the disorder's effects and help your child learn, grow, and thrive independently. Now, what is autism? Autism can be defined as a mental condition characterized by difficulty communicating and forming relationships with other people. Language skills are often affected and abstract concepts are challenging for the child to process cognitively. Autism spectrum disorder appears in infancy and early childhood, causing delays in many basic areas of development, such as learning to talk, interacting with others, and engaging in appropriate play. The sign and symptoms of autism in babies varies widely as do its effects. Some children with autism have mild impairments, while others have more challenging obstacles to overcome. However, every child on that autism spectrum has difficulty, at least to some degree, in the following 3 areas. 1, communicating verbally and non-verbally. 2, relating to others and the world around them. And 3, flexibility with thinking and behaving. When looking at signs of autism in a baby, some signs to look for when observing your child for developmental delays or autism include making eye contact, such as looking at you when being fed or smiling when being smiled at. Another thing to look for, are they responding to his or her name or the sound of a familiar voice? Does your baby follow objects visually or follow your gesture when you point things out? Point or wave goodbye or use other gestures to communicate? Do they make noises to get your attention? Do they initiate or respond to cuddling or reach out to be picked up? These are all signs and observations to make while watching your child develop to see if they do have a developmental delay or a sign of autism. Some more signs of autism in a baby could be whether or not they imitate your movements and facial expressions, play with other people or share interest and enjoyment like peekaboo games, notice or care if you hurt yourself or experience discomfort. These are things to look for when observing signs of autism in babies. Regression is also a huge sign of autism in babies, often noticeable between the ages of 1 and 2 years old. For instance, was your child engaging in babbling but is now not producing or progressing with expanding their sounds? Or are they using less wording to communicate than before and using more gestures instead? Have they gone from enjoying peekaboo and patty cake games to no longer engaging in play itself? These are some red flags to keep an eye on as you observe your baby and whether or not they are showing signs of autism. Any loss of speech, babbling, gestures, or social skills should be taken very seriously. There are different opinions among doctors, parents, and experts about what causes autism and how best to treat it. One evidence-supported fact is that everyone agrees on is that early and intensive intervention is a key to optimal outcomes for the child's development. What is early and intensive intervention and how do I get the services? Early and intensive intervention can be described as an educational support system that aids with the strengths and weaknesses of a child with developmental delays or disabilities. The brain grows significantly from birth to 3 years old. So by incorporating the early and intensive intervention therapy throughout this time of growth, you will be providing your child with opportunities to learn and develop at the speed at which is individually right for them. Most early and intensive intervention programs use what is known as applied behavior analysis, or ABA. ABA refers to a set of principles that center around how behaviors are affected and changed. The behaviors are also monitored to determine the effects of the environment in order to intervene with approaches suited for the child to be enriched in an appropriate learning setting. ABA therapists are trained to promote behaviors needed to learn skills, talk, play, and function independently. They also provide strategies and parent education for diminishing problem behaviors. With being a new parent, catching the signs of autism in a baby early is the key to a successful future for them. The Center of Autism and Related Disabilities, or CARD, is one of the world's largest organizations that uses ABA to treat autism. By contacting CARD, you will be aiding in your child in reaching developmental growth and learning for a happy, healthy life. For more information and to learn about signs of autism in a baby, click the link below.